Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of RE386, where I take old stories I've narrated and update into modern audio standards. This particular story is called Stolen by the Stars, written by Squigglestorystudios. Mother Nature looked at her garden and smiled. The winds and rain at her beck and call, the oceans swelled as the seasons turned, mountains formed and volcanoes simmered. Green covered every surface. She was power. She was life. All she created bowed before her. Those who did not were destroyed. The beasts of her kingdom knew well to serve their mother, forever obedient, forever unquestioning. She sat back upon her throne, tending and rearranging the green and the living, until her old enemy did rear its cowardly head. It dared to strike her with an ugly iron. She raised her hands against the sky, the black lifeless void that dared to strangle her from existence. She roared, and the air and fire came to her aid. The iron missiles did burn and malform, crashing to her earth with little but a crater to show for it. The emptiness would not destroy her so easily. Mother Nature ordered it to be forgotten. Her creatures yielded, all except one her youngest, curious and naive. She allowed it to see the unremarkable iron, so that it would know the pitiful weapon was nothing against her might. The animal ran its hand over the metal, looking up into the unknown from where it had come. Mother Nature ordered the creature to turn its head and return to her garden. It did not. The goddess did raise her voice, demanding it look away from the sky. Still, the being stared into the heavens. Mother Nature growled, snatching the insolent from the crater. She recoiled in disgust. The creature had stars in its eyes. It was tainted now. She reached in and ripped the heart from it, the green heart she had granted to all who she gave life and who followed her word. She disposed of the thing, tossing it into the sands, decreeing that none were to acknowledge the tainted one. The beasts of her kingdom obeyed. She watched the blighted struggle, its empty heart filled with the blackness of the void as it moved stones and lived in pain. She mocked it, offering one last time to accept her rule. It refused. She raised her hands and brought ice to the world, to freeze its bones and blood, to end its life. From that frost it brought up its own hand, and fire did burn. Mother Nature hesitated. No creature before had used magic. Only she held this power. With fire, the being weathered her ice, and land around it changed. The fire scorched the earth, so she could no longer touch it. The tainted one began again to shift stones and change the green that grew there. Mother Nature snarled and sent the beasts to consume it. Monsters and animals tried to destroy the empty heart. Again, it raised its hand, and from the scorched earth it drew iron, accursed iron. She sent a most vile of spells of pain, misery, and suffering. Pestilence. The tainted one fell to its knees, but still it was not enough to destroy it. It clutched its empty heart and roared. Poisons spilled from its breath. Mother Nature could not contain her fury any longer. She tore the earth apart, so it may fall and be silenced. Storms lashed and broke its skin. Lava boiled and burned its bones to ash. She raised her hand and rained her hate upon it. The creature endured. With every strike it grew stronger, its skin encased in concrete. Lightning tamed ran through its veins. Toxins and bile dripped from its lips. Despicable. Hated iron grew hard and tempered. Wings of steel flourished upon its back. Mother Nature trembled. Her anger grew to fear at the demon in front of her. With every step the green was consumed, the earth scorched and poisoned. Nothing could grow. The tainted one screamed, a fury of its own. With its power it lashed out at the goddess. It butchered her beasts, slaughtered her oceans, massacred her green. All her powers faltered. The monster, no, the god of destruction, clenched its hand around her throat. Mother Nature did kneel before him. She looked up at the god, those eyes that burned with stars and pain. The void had won. She surrendered her breath and waited for the end. It did not come. The god's hand did shake, and tears from its eyes did pour. He cried out to her in anguish. Slowly, his grip on her released, and he raised his hands to his empty heart. She did not understand. He fell to his knees. He begged without words. She touched her own chest, life still flowing within her. The god she created, that she had tormented and abused, wished for her to return what she'd stolen. He did not seek vengeance. She wept. In her arrogance and loneliness, she had inflicted unspeakable misery on he who could have been her equal, who could have turned the void. But that was lost now. She got the green from her heart, the tiny spark she had taken those millennia ago, and offered it to the ruined god. He cradled the gift in his hands, tenderly protecting it, but did not place it within his sacred chest. The god raised his head to look at the stars. His steel wings spread, and he carried his heart far beyond Mother Nature's reach. He soared into the sky, without fear, without looking back. She was alone now to toil the soiled earth, left to struggle and strive to clean her oceans, to free her winds. She would nurture the dust so it would grow green again. The goddess learned to care for the beasts of her kingdom. Occasionally, she would turn her sight to the heavens, wondering what became of the god who was stolen by the stars. Mars held humanity's hand. She comforted him, as she had done 1,000 times before. "I caused her so much pain," he whispered, squeezing tightly. "You hold so much guilt, yet look at what you have done," Mars smiled, lifting his chin. "You have made oceans of deserts, grew forests of dead soil, protected me from solar winds and the cold of the void. Without you, I would not be." She rested her hand atop his shoulder. "I'm sure she would accept you if you returned." Humanity shook his head, but he held Mars tighter. "No, I can't return, not yet. The scars I gave her have not healed." "Ha! You mean the scars she gave you?" she replied pointedly, a hand over his heart. "Ceres, Ganymede, Europa, and Lio will tell you the same thing. She had no right to hurt you." Humanity sighed and looked up to the stars. Mars felt a painful tug. "You're leaving again, aren't you?" "Just for a little while. Titan is beginning to worry me," he confessed. "She's so lonely out there. I promised to wake Re for her." Mars embraced humanity, holding him close. "You won't rest until the whole galaxy is awakened." "Maybe," he teased, the smile returning to his lips. Mars stepped back and tapped him playfully on the arm. "Well, you better hurry up then, otherwise another star might fall, and who knows?" She looked up to the sky. "The universe could use another god like you." End of story. Story number 2. A False Pretense, written by True Knight. "Species?" asked the obviously bored clerk. "Human," replied the very well-muscled hunter. "You don't just approach the League of Predators with any average person. You need to project strength, confidence, some held-back ferocity." A few clicks and taps resonated from behind the clerk's desk. "Physical traits conducive to killing prey. Examples include claws, fangs, venom, etc." The very bored clerk was staring rather blankly at his terminal. His hands weren't visible, but the hunter guessed that they were on something not unlike a keyboard. The clerk himself was from a species that resembled old earthen dragons. Fangs, talons, but probably the most important part was that his species could breathe fire. A useful predatory ability, without a doubt. Cooking your meal the same time you kill it. Extreme stamina. The clerk looked up from the terminal, obvious annoyance exuding from him. Many species, both predator and otherwise, boast high stamina, and as such, that trait does not qualify. The clerk gave the hunter a once-over. "You certainly don't look like a predator. I don't see any claws, ridges, spines, horns, fangs. Do you even have venom sacs? The ability to breathe fire or inject poison, with only natural parts of your body, not technology of any sort?" "No. What about the ability to pulverize bones and organs internally without causing external damage?" The clerk looked dubious. The human definitely did not look strong enough in the first place, but he decided to follow up without a sheer sense of duty. "Maybe. Show me on this mannequin." The mannequin looked like a standard sentient herbivore species, like someone might run into in the street. The human got into a fighting stance, then threw the strongest right hook he could. The readout above the mannequin's head climbed in value. A punching strength gain. The numbers settled on 800. That didn't look great in this particular readout. 2 of the 5 digits still read 0. Sorry, I'm afraid that doesn't qualify. A minimum score of 2000 is required for punching ability to qualify as a predator skill. The clerk now showed obvious disgust in his face. You should be embarrassed. There are herbivore species that hit harder than that. The clerk again tapped his keyboard some more, and some minutes went by before he looked up at the human again. Given the lack of obvious strength or any natural weaponry which could kill prey, humanity is hereby disqualified from the League of Predators, until such a time as any of the previously mentioned change. However, before you leave, for clerical purposes, I need to know what your species hunts. This information is in no way will change the status of your application, but will be used when your species reapplies for admission. I'm so glad you asked, replied the human. We hunt predators. The clerk had about a moment to express shock, and then the world rang unbearably loud and filled with white. He felt an impact on the side of his head as his world went black. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.